President Lee Jae myung, early life and personal struggles, born December 22, 1963, Andong, Yongsangbuk-do, South Korea. Upbringingly, was raised in deep poverty as a child. He worked in factories from the age of 12 to support his family, which left him with lasting physical injuries, notably a shortened arm from a press accident. Education, despite hardship. He passed the bar exam without attending a traditional university law school, earning his law degree through self-study via Korea's government examination system. Legal career. Human rights lawyer Lee began his career defending workers' rights and marginalized communities in Seonam. His work focused on environmental causes, tenant rights, and labor advocacy. He earned a reputation as a fiery and confrontational advocate. Political career. Mayor of Seonam, 2010 to 2018, ran as a member of the Liberal Democratic Party. Introduced progressive programs like youth, basic income free, school uniforms. Expanded public housing. Lee gained national recognition for challenging Bostels and Grooves. I do feel serious farley, my musin casture that glides on smoothly and leaves a rich, long-lasting color. Live last. Corporate developers and prioritizing transparency in city governance. Governor of Gyeonggi Province, 2008-2021. South Korea's most populous province. Key initiatives: trial universal basic income for youth, 250,000 per quarter. Push for green energy. Digital innovation and public safety gained popularity through active social media use and populist messaging. During the COVID-19 crisis, presidential ambitions and controversy. Lost 2022 presidential election, narrowly lost to conservative Yoon Suk-yeol in one of the closest races in South Korean history. Controversies during and after the campaign. Investigations into alleged favoritism in real estate deals. Dong scandal. Accusations of abuse of power and slander. None led to a conviction, but the cases shadowed him. Elected president. In snap election 2025, the impeachment and removal of President Yoon Suk-yeol amid martial law fallout. Lee won the emergency election. Entered office on June 4, 2025, without a traditional transition period. Image and reputation. Style: combative, populist, and deeply pragmatic. Support base: working class, youth. Progressives disillusioned with elites. Criticism: accused of authoritarian streaks. Frequent target of conservative media. Polarizing figure, praised for integrity by supporters. Seen as demagogic by opponents. Presidency since the 4th of June 2025 inauguration. A presidency born of crisis. Took office June 4, 2025, after a snap election triggered by the impeachment and removal of President Yoon Suk-yeol. Lee assumed power immediately following the vote. Amid a national state of emergency and widespread protests backdrop, Yoon had attempted to invoke martial law following mass unrest. Lee campaigned on restoring civilian leadership and reversing authoritarian overreach. Cabinet and key appointments. Son Gu-bak, appointed as South Korea's first civilian defense minister in over 60 years, signaling a shift away from military dominance in defense policy. Cho Hyun, seasoned diplomat and former ambassador to the EU, unappointed foreign minister, focusing on restoring multilateral diplomacy. Chung Dong-young, former unification minister, now reinstated to reopen North Korea dialogue. Lee pledged a technocratic, non-factional cabinet. Though some critics saw signs of political favoritism, foreign policy reset. U.S., Japan, and trilateral alignment rapidly restored ties with Washington and Tokyo, declaring their relationships inseparable. Committed to the U.S. ROC alliance, but aims to renegotiate Trump-era tariffs that hurt Korea's chip and auto sectors. Lee attended the June 2025 G7 summit in Canada as his first foreign trip, meeting with President Trump and Prime Minister Kishida. North Korea engagement. Reopened military hotlines and diplomatic channels with Pyongyang. Announced review of leaflet ban laws and promised a peace through communication. Approach expressed interest in a phased inter-Korean economic cooperation planned domestic agenda. Economic policies emphasizes tech and green investment AI. Semiconductors, renewables. Pledge drain in youth unemployment sees housing cost, rebuild. The social safety net including trial expansions of universal. Basic income encourage, a shorter work week to boost productivity and work-life balance. Labor and justice reform endorses the yellow envelope law protecting workers' rights to strike without employer. Lawsuits promises judicial independence and anti-corruption reforms. Despite past legal controversies vows to reverse repressive protest laws enacted under Yoon challenges. And criticisms political polarization despite a Democratic victory. His presidency is deeply divisive. Many conservatives claim he lacks legitimacy, legacy, legal issues. He still faces suspended investigations into campaign finance and abuse of power. Allegations power centralization critics accuse him of nepotism and creating a hyper-presidential system reminiscent of past authoritarian leaders. Regional stability. His presidency began just as the Israel-Iran conflict escalated, forcing him to manage foreign risk, immediately domestic policy, economic strategy, pro-growth, progressivism. Lee combines welfare expansion with innovation-driven growth key focuses, universal basic income UBI pilot expansion, especially for youth and freelancers investment in AI, semiconductors, and green energy job creation through 5G+, smart mobility, and EV industries, reining in housing prices via expanded public rental housing and speculative. Tax reform tariff diplomacy, advocates revising. U.S. imposed tariffs on Korean goods as partially autos and semiconductors to ease pressure on exporters' labor and social justice labor law reform supports. The yellow envelope law limits corporate lawsuits against striking workers' advocates for shorter work weeks and stronger protections for non-regular workers' education. Proposed increased STEM investment and reduced college tuition for low-income students' healthcare. Plans to expand mental health services and national health insurance. Coverage foreign policy pragmatic balance. President Lee's diplomacy blends progressive ideals with strategic realism, aiming to preserve alliances while reducing dependence. U.S. ROC Alliance. Lee is pro-alliance, but less hawkish than his predecessor. Priorities tariff rollback, seeking a reset. In economic relations under President Trump. Greater ROC input in defense posture, particularly U.S. force deployment and wartime operation plans. Defense cooperation on AI, cyber, and space systems cemented the G7 summit. Canada, June 2025, to reaffirm alliance alongside trilateral cooperation with Japan. Japan relations declared Japan a necessary partner, a reversal from earlier adversarial stances, supports trilateral security cooperation with U.S. historical reconciliation efforts via civic exchange programs, tech, and supply chain partnerships. North Korea opened military hotlines and working level diplomacy supports gradual engagement. Economic cooperation zones. Kaesong humanitarian aid in family reunions poses provocative actions like leaflet balloon campaigns and emphasizes de-escalation. China and Russia maintain strategic ambiguity, keeps trade open with China while limiting dual-use tech exports. Unsanctions on Russia but avoids overt provocation. Lee has not taken sides on Taiwan or Ukraine, instead urging regional stability through multilateralism, and global role. Supports climate action, UN-led development, and tech regulation frameworks. Advocates for a new East Asian security dialogue, including China, U.S., Japan, and ASEAN, strengthening South Korea's defense tech exports. Drones, air defense, naval systems, expanding Korea's soft power in education, pop culture, and AI governance. Presidential ambitions and controversy. Rapid political ascents. Lee Jae Myung's political journey has been unusually fast and grassroots driven. Self-made outsider, unlike many South Korean elites, Lee didn't attend prestigious universities or have family political ties. His rise from factory worker to lawyer to mayor won public sympathy and a reformist image seen as a populist crusader against elites, which endeared him to young voters and working-class communities. 2022 presidential bid first attempt ran as the Democratic Party's nominee against conservative Chun Suk-yeol, narrowly lost by just 0.7% of the vote, the closest margin in Korean democratic history, despite defeat. He consolidated control of the party and remained its de facto leader, preparing for a return. Major controversies, legal troubles. 2018 to 2024, Lee has faced multiple investigations and indictments, particularly around Daejeong-dong development scandal, alleged favoritism and insider dealing in a large real estate project when Lee was mayor of Sina-Makist, of enabling massive profits for private developers. Tied to his aides, Lee denied wrongdoing, framing it as a smear campaign by entrenched elites. As of 2025, no convictions. Several cases are suspended due to presidential immunity, slander, and abuse of power allegations, indicted for public defamation during the 2022 campaign, allegedly spreading false claims about political opponents, also accused of using city resources for political purposes. During his governorship, defenders argue these were politically motivated charges by the conservative prosecution.